Nobody at Fox has explained how this toxic nonsense ended up on the airwaves. I know for a fact that many of the people who work at Fox do not agree with this, do not want to be associated with it. But a decision was made by somebody to do this report and air it. All the parties involved should explain themselves, and then they should be fired also. Oh, are you promoting cancel culture? You want to cancel these people? Absolutely, I want to cancel them. Yes. They should be fired for sure. Named, shamed, and fired.
What Fox News segment has Matt Walsh so worked up?
14-year-old Rylan Whittington is a typical Southern California teenager. And the Whittingtons are a typical family. The only difference, though, in Rylan's eyes, is what this family can mean to the tens of thousands of kids under 18 who identify as transgender.
We put our story out there so people could see that there's another family out there that is going through what we're going through, or there's another family who's proud of who they are, just here to make the ride smoother for others. You might be struggling right now, but we believe in you, this family. We might not know you, we might not know where you live, but we understand you and we believe in you.
I'm Rayy Vana and welcome back to Rebel HQ. If you don't know who Matt Walsh is, he is a conservative commentator, a professional transphobe, and somehow, despite the very steep competition, the creepiest guy who works for the Daily Wire.
When you put dishonest, militant trans propaganda on the airwaves, that's going to do and is doing immeasurable harm to thousands of kids, then yeah, you should be fired for that.
This is the militant trans propaganda that he's referencing, by the way.
They listened to families. They met in support groups.
There was a father who was sitting across the table, and he said, our child had displayed this gender misalignment at the same age that Rylan has, and we didn't listen, and we pushed back.
That pushback led that child to turn to self-harm as a teenager, which 60% of trans and non-binary kids engage in, according to the Trevor Project. More than 50% consider suicide.
That, for me, was the turning point. I didn't want to see Rylan to go through that.
I'd rather have a living son than a dead daughter.
So this big, scary militant trans propaganda is a family not wanting to see their trans son turn to self-harm? Now, Matt Walsh wants you to think that he's all up in arms about this video because he cares about protecting children. So let me tell you a little bit more about Matt Walsh. In 2015, Walsh wrote a tacit defense of 19 Kids and Counting star Josh Duggar, who is a pedophile who is currently serving out a 12-year sentence in prison for child pornography. In that piece, Walsh says, "If my own son, God forbid, came up to me and admitted to doing what Josh Duggar did, I don't know that I'd immediately run to the cops." Now keep in mind, what Josh Duggar did was sexually assault his younger sisters. So Matt Walsh is admitting that if his son molested his daughter, he doesn't know if he would call the police.
Let me tell you something. I violate my kids' consent all the time in the sense that I force them to do things they don't want to do.
And last, but certainly not creepiest, Matt Walsh included in his documentary a picture of a topless 15-year-old without the consent of them to use the picture. If I haven't already made it abundantly clear, Matt Walsh does not care about protecting children. Matt Walsh is a bigot who would gladly see the number of trans youth suicide increase if it means that his bigoted agenda is passed. He would be happy to see that more and more trans children are committing self-harm if that means that more people go watch his dumb documentary. If you want to protect children, particularly LGBTQ children, listen to them, affirm them, show them that you care, and for the love of God, keep them away from Matt Walsh.